girl named Ella who could never meet a fella because her stepmom locked her in a cellar. Then her fairy godmother cast a spell, a one-week stay at a hotel where she met a prince who called her Bella. He said, let's go for dinner and see if we jella. To get all his servants, he rang a gold bella. The fairy godmother already could tell her this hotel-stayed prince was not very swella, so she took a simple beach umbrella, turned it into a rocket as part of the spella. Unfortunately, the rest I can't tell her because it involves a few Martians because it turned interstellar. And that is the story about one girl named Ella, but at least she is no longer locked in a cellar. Once there was a young princess who preferred to wear t-shirts instead of a dress. You could hear her saying in the castle, being a princess is such a hassle. To put on dresses and date a dud, wear high heels that clomp and thud, smear on makeup that looks like crud. That's not my style, just let me be, I just don't care, I'm royalty. The queen, she fainted in the chair, while uttering, why don't you care? When she arose, she clutched her head, how about some pearls instead? But this particular princess did her own thing. From tree to tree, she liked to swing. She liked to shoot arrows, she liked running, exploring. She found dinners and parties incredibly boring. And despite her parents' constant pleas, she came home often with scraped knees. Her mother begged her, can't you please change your ways? Your dad agrees. Take ballet or learn the waltz. Take a bath with smelling salts. You are a young lady, stop playing so rough. You need to behave like a princess and stuff. So they made her take lessons in poise, charm, and grooming. Despite what she learned, her parents were fuming. She displayed none of the traits that a sweet princess should. She hated to curtsy, she'd rather chop wood. And her parents decided that this wasn't good. But every day she'd climb a tree. It was her favorite place to be. Well, the years they passed, the princess soon was 18, and a matchmaker came to meet the queen. I hear you have a royal daughter. You know the rules, I'm sure you taught her to find a man that's strong and wise. I've got some princes she can try on for size. The matchmaker asked, can I get a peek of this unusual princess, the one which I speak of? The queen was excited and she said to her daughter, the matchmaker's here, and I think that you ought to stand up tall, fluff your hair, cross your legs in a chair, and most of all, pretend that you care. Well, the princess stepped out into the foyer. And under her breath, she said, I don't mean to annoy her, but I'm not my mother, so please do consider that I'm a princess who prefers t-shirts to glitter. Mm-hmm. Well, that spring, the princes came to meet her, bringing flowers and chocolates and trumpets to greet her, and despite their schooling and pedigrees, the princess said, they're not for me. Her mother was confused. She thought the princes were kind. But her daughter was stubborn and would not change her mind. And really, why would she? After all, it's her life. You know, it's quite a decision to become someone's wife. So she ran from the castle to climb the big tree. She needed a moment where she could just be something more natural and less princessy. And she climbed to the top, and she sat there and wondered, watching the clouds till it lightened and thundered. And then, as if by magical chance, the lightning cracked that very branch, and the princess tumbled from the tree. What happened next was destiny. 2 arms from a prince reached out and caught her. He just happened to be there. He didn't search for or sought her. In fact, like the princess, he escaped the same day. He was waiting to meet her, but he just couldn't say, how are you doing? Hello, be my wife. I know I don't know you, but let's make a life. So, he too ran from the castle to climb a big tree, wishing his mother would just let him be. And he climbed to a limb, and he sat there all day, not knowing the princess, like him, ran away. So when he caught the young girl, he was rather confused. She was dressed in a t-shirt and she seemed quite amused. Are you here for me? He said, apparently so. But naturally, he still didn't know that the girl was a princess, the girl he just caught. Despite their chance meeting, he liked her a lot. She was covered in leaves. They were soggy and wet. He said, let's walk for a while and not separate yet. So they strolled through the forest, through the colorful leaves, and they spoke of their lives and what each one believes. And the princess was thankful. She said, "You saved my life." And that's when the prince asked, "Will you be my wife?" And the matchmaker cackled, "I knew it! Surprise! It happened before each and all of your eyes. The prince met a princess right here at this tree, and it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for me. Just sign here on the dotted line. I'm sure it all will work out fine." Well, the princess said, "Wait, don't I have to say I'd like to get married, but I'll do it my way." And she turned to the prince and she said, "We met at this tree, and you didn't know you were looking for me." And the prince said, "Dear princess, what you say is all true. I'd love to climb trees forever with you." Naturally, the queens were elated, the royals and townfolk, they all celebrated. And up in the trees, if you ever hear laughter, it's the prince and the princess living happily after. But most of all, they became best friends. And that's the way this story ends. I am a baby dragon. My name is Puffy Poo. I have purple scales and wings like sails, but I can't blow fire, can you? Now let's pretend he's aging and turning Dave. And then, the dragon is dragging his tail in his head. Uh-oh, kaplunk, I think the dragon is dead. Howdy, I'm Dan, and my duty is dragging. I drag dead dragons, and I don't cheat with no wagon. So mostly I drag them by hand, over the dunes and across fertile land. Now, Dave kills the dragons. Dave is my brother. He uses an arrow or something or other, but I drag the dragons. Dragging dragons ain't easy. You gotta drag them away because they get kind of diseasy. Sure, Dave gets the dinners and the dames and the dances. Dave's done some traveling, so he knows where France is. I'd like to do Dave's job, but what are the chances? So I do my duty. I drag the dragon away. It may take a decade or a year or a day. And when the dragon is over, when that duty is done, I gotta start digging in the dry summer sun. So I'm digging this dragon a very deep grave. It'd be so much simpler if I had help from Dave. I've been digging for days, and I'm finally done. But dragging and digging are only part one. So I dump the dead dragon in the deep ditch I dug, and I sprinkle on dirt until he's nice and snug. And I think about Dave and the awards he's been given. But I'm pretty darn happy about the life I am living. Then I go visit my damsel, and I eat a dessert. My damsel's Diane, and we do tend to flirt. And I tell her my stories about dragging each dragon for dozens of years. She says, "Dan, you're just bragging." And I can see how time's passing, because Diane's skin's a sagging. But my desire for her, it ain't waiting or flagging. Then I depart the diner, and I wave bye to Diane, and I go searching for Dave to see if we can kill a dangerous dragon so we can drag it again. And that is my life. Dragging dragons defines me. I don't need dinners or awards to remind me, because if I wasn't there to declutter the scene, folks wouldn't be happy, if you know what I mean. And despite all of Dave and my brotherly tussles, I drag the dragon, so I'm the one with the muscle.